Millionaires Nadhim Zahawi and Rishi Sunak's tax affairs remind us again that we aren't all in this together. I think it's about time that Nadhim Zahawi took an extended break from politics to spend more time with his money. Hey, who knows, he might even be able to discover exactly how much he's got. That'll be useful when the taxman comes calling. Zahawi is the chairman of the Conservative Party and minister without portfolio. He has just admitted that he paid back tax he owed plus a whopping fine, all totaling several million quid to the inland revenue. This is because he was careless when filling in his tax forms. And they clobbered him. In other words, how can I put this? Underestimated how much wonga he had. Just a slip of the pen, you see. Could happen to anyone. Or anyone who is a multi-millionaire. There's now an investigation into the whole business. But Rishi Sunak is a fool if he waits for its conclusions. As Keir Starmer rightly said, you can't have a tax avoider in charge of taxpayers' money. Starmer was also right when he called Sunak weak for not sacking the bloke. But the other problem Rishi has is this. He has also faced one or two questions about his family's dealings with the taxman. In April last year it was revealed that his wife Akshata Murthy had been claiming non-DOM status to avoid paying tax in this country. Yes, she's married to our Prime Minister, but she'd been paying the bulk of her income tax somewhere else. She subsequently promised to pay UK taxes on her overseas income, but many took the view that it all wasn't quite right. What it does is remind people, if they ever needed reminding, that the elite which runs us, the conservative elite, is not like the rest of us. We are not all in it together. Both Rishi and Nadhim are absolutely rolling in it. Now, I suspect that the average voter doesn't really care how much money a politician may have squirreled away. So long as they are honest and are doing a good job of running the country. But they're not, are they? Getting information about whether they pay enough tax is like wringing blood from a stone. Just ask the Inland Revenue. And you would have to be out of your box on ketamine to believe they were doing a brilliant job of running the country. It all feeds into the notion that there is one rule for them and one rule for the rest of us. That they are a different class of people. Who move in very exalted circles. For example, tell me this. Have you ever popped round to a mate's house for a bite to eat and been offered a very attractive loan of 1 million quid? Does that happen often, in the circles you move in? That's what happened to Boris Johnson. Couple of mates decided over dinner to fix a loan for Bojo, who was feeling a bit hard up on his £164,000 salary. One of the blokes who did the fixing, a man called Richard Sharp, was appointed as chairman of the BBC by Boris Johnson. Bingo. It's stuff like that which rankles with the rest of us, and rightly so. It's also a signal that this government has pretty much had it. There's no longer a sense of dignity or honesty. Just a bunch of pampered spiffs doing everything they can to keep hold of their moolah. They've moved the hands of the doomsday clock 10 seconds closer to midnight. The doomsday clock shows us how long we have left before we're all annihilated. We've now got 90 seconds. Just enough time to put the bins out. While things don't look too good right now, are we really closer to worldwide annihilation than at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis? Or the blockade of Berlin? If there were a competition to find the most odious politician in Westminster, it would of course be a closely fought affair. Tory Caroline Noakes, for example, would probably be in with a shout. The Lib Dem contender would be the idiotic Lynn Featherstone, who has the IQ of a bowl of gravy. But I still think they'd lose out to the horrible far-left woke muppet Lloyd Russell Moyle, the Labour MP for Brighton Kemptown. His latest bit of bullying petulance was to intimidate Tory MP Miriam Cates for the crime of speaking perfect sense during the debate over the Gender Recognition Act. He launched a furious, nasty attack upon the woman. Then crossed the floor of the house and sat staring at her. At last, the Germans have shown a bit of spine. They will sanction the transfer to Ukraine of a whole bunch of tanks. They'd been opposed for ages because they are scared stiff of Vladimir Putin. The decision from the Germans should show Putin that the West is more united than ever behind Ukraine. And that the only course of action he has left is to get his troops out of a sovereign country, including Crimea. The lesson needs to be rammed home to both Putin and any other ultra-nationalist Russian leader who takes over when Vlad mysteriously drops dead, glowing like a Belisha beacon. Which I suspect may be quite soon. I mean, they didn't quite put it like that. The IPPR suggested the North got less investment than pretty much any part of Europe. We're just above Greece. That's why there was so much cynicism about the government's pathetic levelling up dash last week, in which London got more than the Northeast. The North has been starved of money for too long. We need decent transport infrastructure and investment in industry. Unless this wretched government wants the divide to grow still wider, and leave us on a par with Somalia. Chocolate company Mars changed the footwear of its M&M characters to make them look more woke. But then everybody complained, and so it seems they have ditched their cartoon mascots. Nobody likes woke. As companies who go down that route quickly find out. If they truly wanted to be progressive, they'd change the name of their company. Mars was the god of war, which isn't very left-wing at all. They should rename it Wumple, after the god of being nice to little kittens.